In early 2008, my then boyfriend, let's call him Kyle, his family, and I moved into a 3-story home. To give you an idea of the layout of the house, when you walked in the front door, you were standing in the living room. A few steps through the rather small living room, and you were in the kitchen. If you were standing in the kitchen, to your left was a hallway that led to 3 of the 5 bedrooms and 1 of the 2 bathrooms. To your right was a dining area, another bathroom, and the stairs leading to 1 of the other 2 bedrooms, which was actually a living room area that had been converted. Then past that were the stairs leading to the bedroom Kyle and I shared. When we moved into the home, I was 6 months pregnant with my son. Nothing happened until the end of July when my son was born. We'll call my son Jake. Now, after Jake's birth, Kyle took up working night shift. I wasn't particularly fond of this, but as I said, his family also lived there, so I wasn't uncomfortable or anything. Fast forward to the beginning of 2009, and Kyle's mom had to have surgery. Everyone went to the hospital that morning except me and Jake. Well, the surgery took a little longer than expected, and me and Jake ended up being home alone all day. I wasn't scared to be alone, but I wasn't always weirded out by being left in such a large home by myself with a newborn. It was just a being watched feeling. Later on in the morning, after I fed Jake and put him down for a mid-morning nap, I decided to do some tidying up and went downstairs to get the broom to sweep our stairs and floor. While I was downstairs, I needed to use the restroom, which is located on the 1st floor, but right below the room Kyle, Jake, and I reside in. While in the restroom, I heard what sounded like heavy work boots walking above me. I thought, oh good, Kyle is home, and I don't have to be alone anymore. Well, I finished up in the restroom and grabbed the broom and went to start up the stairs. And as I round the corner to get to my room, I see what I believe to be a small childlike figure sitting at the bottom of my stairs. As I approached, it suddenly disappeared, and I just dismissed it as my mind playing tricks because of my fear of being alone. Well, I enter the room and Kyle is not home. I still just kind of shrugged it off. Nothing happened for quite a few years after this, except maybe a bump or weird noise here and there. Fast forward again to 2011, and my son is now 3. The spare room right below mine is converted into a playroom for Jake. We had various things hanging on the wall, and several toy boxes and bookshelves lined the walls. Now, every once in a while, I'd hear Jake talking to someone while I would be downstairs, talking to Kyle's family members. Well, I dismissed it as normal 3-year-old behavior until one day Jake told Kyle he had a friend named Nick who was mean to him. Kyle knew that Jake had no friends named Nick, and he was wondering if maybe we had met someone new at the park or something. I replied no, and we kind of got suspicious and started asking Jake questions. Jake starts telling us that Nick will just show up on the stairs and scare him, and then he will push him down and scratch him and take his toys. Well, I was kind of fearful of this response and thought my child was having hallucinations, as there were no visible signs of this on Jake. So I set up an appointment with his DAR, who referred us to a psychologist. While waiting to see the psychologist, things got weirder. While Kyle was at work, I would hear heavy footsteps above me while in the shower. Toys would be moved or play music by themselves. The TV would turn on and off. Things would fly off the wall and land across the room. The volume would go up and down. The channel would change by itself. Well, I unplugged the TV thinking it was malfunctioning, and we never really used it much anyway. While it was unplugged, it powered on. I thought Kyle may have plugged it back in, so I went to unplug it, and it wasn't plugged in. I freaked out and told whatever was there to leave and leave my family alone. All was fine until the day came to take Jake to psychologist. We are across town, and Kyle's mother is home alone. As we are leaving, Kyle's cell phone rings and it's his mom. Thinking she wanted to see how the appointment went, he just dismissed it, thinking he'd return her call. When we got Jake into the car and settled in, she kept calling back to back, so after the second time he answered. She was hysterical, telling us to hurry home. When we got home, 45 minutes later, she's sitting outside and has a look of terror on her face. I asked her what was wrong, and she started telling me she was in Kyle's sister's room and the light went out. Thinking the bulb blew, she went and got another and changed it out. Well, it still didn't come on, so she checked the breaker. It was okay. And so she just chalked it up to an electrical problem and was going to have her husband take a look when he arrived later that evening. She went into the living room to sit on the couch and watch her soap operas and sew button onto her shirt. Well, the TV started doing the things mine and Kyle's was doing, and she said aloud, but to no one in particular, "Okay, you can stop now." The TV went back to working normally, and to her surprise, the bedroom light came back on as well. She laughed it off, and then she said she started hearing Jake's toys being moved and played with. She said she then heard loud, heavy footsteps, and she got up and went to see what was going on, and as she turned the corner, she said she saw what she could only describe as a demon that rushed down the stairs towards her, and she ran out of the house. We cleansed the house and had it blessed, and we moved out less than a week later. I have other experiences I will share later on, but my question here is, was Nick a demon disguising himself as a child to get closer to my son, or was there more than one entity in this home?